Miami Dolphin fans, what is going on? Mitchell Renz here from Chat Sports, and on today's video, we're going to take a look at a Dolphins mailbag. So what exactly is a mailbag? We ask you guys to submit some questions. We also sometimes scroll through the YouTube comments and find some of the most wild and outlandish things that we can find. But on this show, we're going to do something a little bit different. So if you want to be featured in our next Dolphins mailbag, what I want you to do is comment your questions below. Usually we tell people to hey, use hashtag Dolphins. It's also an easier way for when I'm looking for the questions to know if you want to be on the show or not. So if you want to be featured in our next Dolphins mailbag, I want you to comment below, and if you could, make sure you use hashtag Dolphins. All right, let's go to the first one coming in here from Reginald Colmore. Trade Xavien Howard for a first and a fourth in the next draft. I also want to say this. I don't adjust the way that you guys say anything. I want to keep it as real as humanly possible. So essentially, Reginald, this is the trade that you're drawing up here. The Dolphins receive a first and a fourth round pick in next year's draft, and then insert NFL team here gets Xavien Howard. Howard is no doubt one of the best players on this Dolphins team, one of the best players on the defense. You could even make an argument, one of the best players in the NFL. I mean, shit, he finished third in Defensive Player of the Year voting this past year. But there has been some rumors around him potentially being traded, despite what some of y'all actually believe. And people are like, oh, it's clickbait. It's not. It's literally been reported by Jeremy Fowler. However, all I'm saying is this. If you don't like Howard, if you don't like the drama around him, maybe you could actually move on from him. So be honest with me here. Reginald came up with this idea, trade Howard for a first and fourth round pick in 2022. If you're like, yeah, man, I would absolutely do that trade, I want you to type T for trade. If you're like, no way, he's too good of a player, I'm not moving on from him, I want you to type K for keep. And more Xavien Howard trade questions here. And, I always find it funny. I mean, we talked about Russell Wilson, Deshaun Watson, and Aaron Rodgers, quarterback. What I want you to do is, think about this idea. So you traded Xavien Howard and Tua for Aaron Rodgers. That's pretty interesting if you ask me. So basically, Mike, what we have here, we're going to show the trade. And then I'm going to ask y'all, hey, break it down whether or not, you would go ahead and do it. But for the Packers, they get a young quarterback in Tua. You also get a top cornerback in Howard. I mean, imagine Jair Alexander and Howard. Those are two top, very, very talented defensive players there. And then the Dolphins, they go out and then they get Aaron Rodgers. So who would end up winning that trade there? If you're like, the Packers win that deal, I want you to type GB. If you think the Miami Dolphins do, I want you to type MIA. I'm going to go ahead and type MIA. I like Tua a lot and I like Howard a lot as well. However, I don't actually see them making that move because they have Jordan Love, and I would take Tua 10 times out of 10 over Jordan Love. However, they did trade up for him, and, why would they go ahead and then also take Tua? All right, let's go to this next question coming in here on this Dolphins mailbag. We got George, I'm sorry, dude. I'm not even going to try your last name. Every time I see it's Mitch doing one of these videos, I get super pumped. Mitch, you the man, fins up. Well, George, I appreciate you. We've been making, more videos here and there, but I don't know if you guys noticed this past week, we went 3 days without making a video, and I always try to be 100% transparent with y'all. It's because we're starting to grow here at Chat Sports, and we only have 3 studios, and basically the way that we give studio time is based on subscribers, and since the Dolphins have been falling behind a little bit in the subscriber count, I haven't been able to make videos for y'all. So if you like this channel, if you want more free videos around your favorite team, I need you to help me get to 16,000 subscribers on this bad boy. We need 880 more. If you're wondering how do you subscribe, there's a big red button underneath this video here. Whether you're watching on your desktop, whether on your mobile device, you click subscribe, then you're not going to miss anything. If you do watch this channel, please send this video, send all of our videos to some friends, and tell them, hey, subscribe. These guys do a pretty good job. All right, let's go to this next one coming in here from Written Thought 14. Howard is good, but isn't the best cornerback on the team. Howard isn't a shutdown corner, nor does he cover the best receiver. I can see an increase to keep the core together, but Howard isn't a top 5 in this league. He's top 10 or 15. So one of the things that I love that Chat Sports is able to do is get you guys' 2 cents on it, because I have the job to be able to give my personal opinion. But then what makes Chat Sports channels different is, you find people like Written that's like, he's not even a top 10. He's probably between a top 10 and 15 corner, when I believe a lot of people would actually make the argument that he's top 5. I would make the argument that he's top 5. 10 interceptions, 20 pass breakups. He might not always get the number 1 corner, but he did that past year because Byron Jones was banged up a lot. So how about this? I'm genuinely curious on how this one shakes up. I was on Twitter the other day, and probably the most, top trending tweet that I personally saw around the Dolphins was, Who's your favorite player of all time? I always think that this Dolphins team is going to, I guess I should say this Dolphins franchise is going to have a good fan base, but it's also that 1972 team, the team that ended up, going undefeated. But I'm genuinely curious. Who's your favorite Dolphin of all time? I'm guessing I'm going to see a lot of Dan Marinos. I'll probably see a few Tuas thrown in there as well. But go down, maybe even a Jason Taylor. Let me know. Favorite player of all time. Let's go to Calvin56. Will Liam Eichenberg play right tackle? Probably. I mean, when they drafted Liam Eichenberg, I was like, all right, here's going to be your new right tackle to be able to protect Tua's blind side. However, there's been kind of conflicting reports out there in ways that they could potentially use their offensive line. I see it going basically two ways here, right? First, here's option number one. You could throw Liam Eichenberg as a left guard next to Austin Jackson, really hold down that left side of your line. Obviously, Skura is the guy you signed in free agency. Could you kick Robert Hunt into right guard? He literally just said he's about to play right guard. Do you trust a guy like DJ Fluker to play right tackle? That's option one. This might be the better option and the route that I think that they're going to end up going, at least the route I personally would go in. You have Austin Jackson as your left tackle, Solomon Kinley as your left guard. You throw Liam Eichenberg as your right tackle to be able to protect Tua's blind side. Insert Robert Hunt into the inside. And then you have Skura there at center. But if you guys want to go ahead and let me know down in the comments which offensive line depth chart you like, please go ahead and type 1, or you can go ahead and type 2. So we do have a special deal going on right now. It is NFL training camp time, right? I mean, it's the off season, and they just released some brand new Dolphins camp hats. So if you like any of the hats that you guys see on screen here, you can go to chatsports.com/DolphinsCamp. Some of these hats are as low as $31.99. The average price is about $35.99. They come in all shapes, sizes, colors, which you can see on screen. And for whatever reason you can't remember the link, that is literally right down below on your screen. Don't worry, I got you guys covered. I'm going to put it in the comments. I'm going to put it in the description. But if you want a new Dolphins training camp hat, chatsports.com/DolphinsCamp. Let's go to this next question here. Michael Myers. A little creepy, but I'm in it. My dark horse matchup, AFC Championship, Miami versus Tennessee's Ryan's revenge game. I'll tell you what, this is actually a pretty good prediction in terms of being a dark horse AFC Championship game, because when I think of dark horse, I want somebody that's not in my top 5, right? And if both teams cannot be in my top 5, even better. But what I wanted to be able to show you are my top 5 AFC teams as it stands right now. Chiefs are at number 1. Bills at number 2. Sorry. I've been saying it, I almost feel like for 3 years, that the Browns are going to take that next step. That offense, that defense on paper is probably one of the most complete teams in the NFL. So I have them at 3. Titans at 4, one of your dark horse teams, and the Ravens at 5. If I were to do a graphic with 6 teams, I would put the Dolphins there. So the top 2 teams out of the 6 could make it a pretty interesting game in the AFC. But, hey, either way, it's going to be a fun year. All right, let's go to Dave Whiting. Did you not include the Dolphins in with the top 3 receiving units in the NFL? WTF. We are definitely in the top 3. We have 3 elite receivers and a tight end that could be tops in the league next year. So, Dave, what I actually thought was funny was you kind of, you talked about this, and I know it was probably the last thing I talked about in my mailbag. I'll show you this Dolphins wide receiver depth chart, and then, we'll take a look at somebody basically another comment regarding the receiving core. But there's no doubt that there's a lot of talent here, right? You got Devontae Parker. Can he stay healthy, be that true number 1? Can Will Fuller stay healthy? Can Jalen Waddle stay healthy? And you look at a lot of these players, and there is a ton of talent. Plus, Bowden. I mean, Lynn Bowden Jr., he's also a very good athlete. It's just, if you're telling me right now they can stay healthy, then sure, I'll throw them in the top 5. But top 3 is still, there's just too many question marks to say top 3. And then you also go on to talk about the tight end, because if we're talking receiving unit, you got to throw in Mike Gesicki in there. You kind of said that he's like a top tight end. I don't really know if I agree with that. He's probably in my top 6 or 7. He's definitely not top 3, but coming off a pretty solid year either way. The Dolphins, they have a good receiving unit. If they can stay healthy, maybe they could be top 3.